Revealed, how a heartwarming request from his daughter changed their ranch life forever. Jake Thompson stood on the edge of his family's ranch, the golden sunlight bathing the rugged Wyoming landscape in a warm glow. At 42, he'd poured every ounce of himself into this land, a legacy forged by his ancestors. But beneath the beauty of the open skies lay the weight of hard times, a once thriving cattle operation now struggling under debts and dwindling resources. His heart ached as he surveyed the sparse pastures, recalling the dreams he held for his spirited 8-year-old daughter, Emily. "Can you tell stories about our ranch, Daddy? I want to show my friends how special it is." Her voice rang with innocent joy, like the sweet chime of a bell. "They'll love it. You know, all about our life here." Emily clutched his hand, her eyes sparkling with admiration. A lump formed in Jake's throat. Their ranch was not the grand symbol of hope it once was, no longer a bountiful miracle where cattle roamed free. Instead, it was a maze of challenges, plagued by relentless economic pressures. As he looked into Emily's expectant gaze, he felt a twinge of guilt and frustration. He couldn't bear the thought of telling her the cold hard truth. As the days passed, Jake found himself immersed in recounting tales from their past, digging deep for the sparkle that once defined their ranch. He pored over old photographs, remembering sun-soaked days filled with laughter, and the songs of crickets at twilight. Each word he wove into tales brought a sense of nostalgia, yet the weight of reality pressed heavily on his heart. They only had a handful of scraggly cows left. He worked sunup to sundown, breaking his back for every nickel. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let us continue. The day of the storytelling contest arrived. With Emily by his side, his nerves were palpable as he stood in front of the eager audience. As he spoke, he felt the emotional flood wash over him. He shared tales of heartbreak and hope, of days spent tirelessly mending fences and nurturing the earth. Unexpectedly, his words struck a chord, reaching beyond simple memories. They connected to a broader audience online, igniting a spark that led to viral fame. But with that fame came an avalanche of emotion, support for sure, but also whispers of doubt. As the internet lit up with their story, suddenly their struggles were exposed. Jake felt a tightness in his chest. He could see the concern in Emily's eyes, a slight shadow of confusion creeping over her innocent joy. Days later, amidst the clamor of newfound attention, Jake pondered the distance growing between him and his daughter. She looked up to him as a hero, but what if he couldn't meet her expectations? How could he shield her from the storm while being thrust into the spotlight? Sitting beneath their favorite oak tree, he realized the truth: they had to find joy in simple moments together again, in the quiet echo of their footsteps on this once vibrant land. Would he be able to bridge the gap before it grew too wide? Would the ranch life he'd always wanted for Emily still be within reach, or would external pressures threaten to silence the heart of their home? Jake paced under the oak tree, the sunlight filtering through the leaves, casting playful patterns on the ground. A deep breath filled his lungs, but the air felt heavy, weighed down by the uncertainty following their sudden fame. He glanced at Emily, who was sitting cross-legged on the grass, drawing pictures in the dirt with a stick. Her laughter was a melody that brought warmth to his heart. How could such joy exist in the midst of chaos? He wanted nothing more than to shield her from the hurt and confusion swirling around them. But reality had other plans. The popularity of their story meant attention, and attention meant expectations, none of which Jake felt ready to face. "Hey, Em," Jake called softly, kneeling beside her. "What are you drawing?" "It's our ranch," she exclaimed with a giggle, her eyes shining bright. "Look, here's the barn, and there's the creek where we catch frogs." Her enthusiasm was infectious. It reminded him of why they had been bringing their story to life in the first place. "Tell me more. What else should we add?" he encouraged. Emily pointed to a firmer line in the dirt. And this is where we'll plant a garden. So we can grow veggies for stew, just like Grandma used to make. Remember? Of course, he remembered. Grandma's recipes were whispered through the generations. They painted family dinners with flavor and laughter, a time when life felt uncomplicated and joyous. As they sketched their visions of a renewed ranch, an idea began to take root in Jake's mind. Perhaps he could turn their story into something more than just a recounting of struggles. Maybe it could be a journey of redemption, a transformation fueled by resilience and love. That evening, he sat on the porch, staring into the emptiness of the pasture as the sky turned shades of pink and orange. He needed to find a way to make their story meaningful, not just for them, but for everyone who connected with it. The next day, instead of burying himself in chores, Jake picked up a camera. He documented their daily lives, the small victories, bonding moments, and challenges. He filmed Emily planting seeds in a makeshift garden, her cheeks stained with dirt and her joy sparkling like the sun. He showed the world what it meant to be a rancher, to struggle yet carry hope in your heart. Within days, their followers started to grow. People resonated with his honesty, and comments flooded in with encouragement. "You can do this. We believe in you." For the first time, Jake felt a glimmer of hope that maybe they weren't alone. As Emily basked in the glow of newfound adventure, Jake began to feel an unsettling shift. The more they shared, the more a crowd of strangers began to invade their intimate world. Privacy faded, and judgment bubbled to the surface. Jake couldn't shake the feeling of vulnerability. While he blurred the boundaries for love, a shadow of fear crept in. What if this exposure shattered the bond he fiercely tried to protect? As he looked at Emily, who was busy adorning their little garden with fresh flowers, he felt both pride and dread swelling inside him. "Can we do this forever, Dad? Will our garden always be this pretty?" she asked, her voice breaking through his worries. Could they? In the midst of all their challenges, he wanted to promise her that they would. Yet, deep down, he knew that every beautiful flower had its own battles to bloom. Would their garden flourish, or would the storms of fame tear it apart? Jake felt the weight of the question heavy on his shoulders as the sun dipped below the horizon. He had to find a way to protect what mattered most, but how could he shield his daughter when he, too, felt so exposed? And as night settled, a sense of determination sparked within him. He had to face the truth, but what truth would it be? The next morning, the air felt different. It was as if the world was holding its breath, waiting for something to happen. Jake sipped his coffee on the porch, watching the birds flit between the trees, but his mind was miles away. He was consumed by the notion that it was time to recalibrate their lives amidst the whirlwind of attention. "Dad?" Emily's voice pulled him from his thoughts. She was standing at the entrance of the kitchen, her hair tousled and her eyes still sleepy, but there was a sparkle in them that was unmistakable. "Can you help me with something?" "Of course, sweetheart. What do you need?" he asked, intrigued. Her little fingers fidgeted with the hem of her shirt. "I want to send a letter to everyone who follows us. I was thinking maybe we could say thank you for all their nice comments." Jake's heart swelled. She had a way of cutting through his worries with such innocent clarity. "That's a wonderful idea, Emily. A letter of gratitude could really connect us with everyone who cares about our journey." They spent the day crafting the letter together. As they sat cross-legged on the living room floor, Jake helped her organize her thoughts. Emily expressed her dreams for the ranch, her love for the soil, and how much their little garden meant to her. Every word she wrote felt like a balm to his anxious heart. Through her simple expressions, their connection with the audience began to feel more personal. Once they finished, Emily beamed. "Can we take a picture to go with it? Just us and the garden?" Jake smiled, nodding. "Absolutely." They set up in the garden, surrounded by the bright colors of blooming flowers. Emily struck various poses, her laughter filling the air, illuminating the space around them. When they finally settled on one, Jake snapped the photo, the two of them, arms around each other, happiness radiating like the sun overhead. Later, as the sun began to set, Jake uploaded the letter and picture onto their social media. He hesitated, hovering his finger over the post button. Anxiety clawed at him again. Would people embrace this side of them? Would they appreciate the sincerity? Moments passed like hours before he clicked it. The notification sounded, and a wave of exhilaration rolled through him. What he felt was not just fear, but hope, a feeling he had desperately clung to. Then the comments began rolling in. "This made my day. You're both such inspirations. Thank you for sharing your love. It's beautiful." As the words danced on the screen, a comforting warmth enveloped him. He found himself smiling, and Emily's joyous squeals echoed through the room. They were bringing people together. Each comment felt like a thread knitting a fabric of community around them, but the euphoric moment was short-lived. Just as he began to unwind, a burning question flickered in the back of his mind, igniting his apprehension once more. What was meant to be a simple thank you had kicked open the door to an entirely new reality. Their lives were already in a fragile state, woven into a narrative controlled by many beyond their understanding. Suddenly, the excitement turned to apprehension as Jake pondered if opening this door would lead to a closeness he cherished or a vulnerability he feared. "Emily," he said, finally breaking the lull, "what if this changes everything?" Her eyes sparkled like stars. "But change can be good. Right, Dad?" Jake swallowed hard, his heart pounding. Could he believe that? Standing at the threshold between hope and fear, he felt the weight of his responsibilities press down even more. What lay ahead was uncertain, but as he looked into his daughter's bright, unwavering gaze, he realized the importance of this moment. Perhaps it was time to embrace the unknown, not just for himself, but for Emily. Could they navigate this new chapter together? And could this heartfelt letter be just the beginning of a much larger story? The day turned into night, and the stars began to twinkle, casting a soft glow over the ranch. Jake lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. His heart raced as Emily's words replayed in his mind. Change can be good. Was it that simple? It felt daunting, like standing at the edge of a cliff, unsure whether to jump or hold back. Morning light streamed through the window. It was a new day, and Jake felt a strange eagerness stir inside him. Emily bounced into the room, her energy infectious. "Dad! Can we check the comments again?" He chuckled, pulling on his old jeans. "Okay, let us see what everyone is saying." They sat together at the kitchen table, scrolling through their social media feed. There were dozens of comments, all bursting with happiness and support. The message that caught Jake's eye was from a farmer several states away, sharing how inspired they made him feel about starting his own garden. "What do you think, Em?" he asked, his voice thick with emotion. "Look at this." Her eyes widened, and she grinned. "That's amazing. We're really making a difference." The weight Jake had been feeling began to lift. Perhaps this was it, the community he had yearned for. He could picture the smiles, the connections forming across miles. The small-town charm of their ranch matched perfectly with the hearts of people everywhere. "I was thinking," Emily piped in, "maybe we could do a video. Like, a garden tour." Jake's brow furrowed. A video? That was a big step. A garden tour, huh? She nodded eagerly, swinging her legs beneath her. "We could show them how we plant things. Maybe they can plant things too." As Emily spoke, Jake could see the excitement illuminating her face. He realized this wasn't just about their journey anymore, it was about sharing it with the world. He could feel himself being pulled in. Maybe he was ready to embrace this after all. "All right. A garden tour it is." Emily squealed with delight, and Jake couldn't help but grin. "But we need a plan. Let us decide what to show and talk about." The rest of the morning flew by as they brainstormed ideas, laughing and teasing each other about who would be the star of the show. Jake set up his phone on a stand in the garden, nervously tapping his fingers against the camera. "Are you ready?" It was hard not to notice the tremor in his voice. Emily hopped excitedly beside him. I was born ready. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Jake pressed the record button and, before he knew it, they were off. Hi, everyone. Emily beamed into the camera. Welcome to our garden. She led the way, sharing stories about each plant, her enthusiasm contagious. Jake felt the nerves fade as he watched her. He realized this moment this was what it was all about. The joy of being together, sharing their love for the land, and connecting with everyone who followed them. Just when they thought they were wrapping up, a low rumble rolled through the sky. Oh! Storm warning. Jake looked at Emily, concern etched into his features. She bit her lip, glancing up at the ominous clouds. Do you think it'll affect the plants? I'm not sure, but let us get everything covered, he urged, his heart racing at the thought of the vulnerable plants they had nurtured together. As they hurried to prepare for the storm, Jake realized there was so much more at stake now: community, hope, and connection. They were no longer just navigating their ranch alone, they were part of something bigger. But as the wind picked up and raindrops began to fall, Jake couldn't shake the feeling that this storm was just the beginning of the change they had invited into their lives. What would this mean for their dreams moving forward? The storm was coming, but what else would it bring? The storm crashed onto the ranch with a fury that took Jake by surprise. Rain poured, pounding against the tin roof and splashing against the dirt. Emily squealed, a mix of excitement and fear, as the first gust of wind rattled the windowpanes. Dad! Hurry! She tugged at his shirt, her eyes wide with worry. Right. Let us move. Jake grabbed the nearest tarp before darting outside. The gusts whipped around them, but he focused on the rows of small plants they had just protected. Working together in the chaos, they draped the tarps over the delicate shoots. Jake's heart pounded, not just from the storm but from the adrenaline of the moment. Is everything going to be okay? Emily's voice held a tremor that sliced through the din of the wind. We'll be all right, Em. Just keep an eye on the corners. He reassured her, though he felt the weight of uncertainty settle in his gut. The threats of nature reminded him how fragile their dreams were. They finished covering the last plant just as raindrops began to seep under the tarp. Jake wrapped his arms around Emily, pulling her close as they ducked for cover inside the barn. The storm raged, but together they shared laughs and giggles, finding joy in the chaos. What if we did a storm video next time? Emily suggested, trying to lighten the mood. Jake chuckled, despite the fear still twisting his insides. I think we should work on the sunshine ones first. Hours passed, and the storm finally began to wane, leaving the air thick with the scent of fresh rain and mud. When they ventured outside, everything was drenched but still standing. Jake's heart swelled at the sight of their garden, a testament to their hard work. We did it, he said, pride blooming inside him. Can we check the comments now? Emily asked, her voice brimming with eagerness. Sure. He pulled out the phone, his fingers trembling with anticipation. They began scrolling together, hearts racing at the thought of community support. That's when he noticed something odd. One comment popped out, different from the rest. Hope your garden survives the rain. It was inspiring to see you take that leap. Change isn't just what you grow, it's what you become. Jake looked up at Emily, his mind racing. What do you think they mean by that? I don't know, but it sounds like they really care. What if it means we're not just helping with gardens but with everything? She gave him that bright smile that reminded him of sunny days. A hint of doubt crept in. Everything? What if we're not ready for that? Dad, she replied, her voice steady. We've already taken the leap. And it feels good. We can help others change too. Her words struck a chord deep in his heart. They were already changing, growing together in ways he'd never expected. This was bigger than just gardening. It was about connection, understanding, and community. Suddenly, his phone chimed with a new alert. Curiosity piqued, Jake opened his notifications. What he saw made his heart race again. A message from the farmer. Emily leaned closer, her excitement palpable. It read, "Let us collaborate. I have an idea that could showcase what you're doing and it could help farmers everywhere." Jake looked at Emily, their eyes wide in disbelief. Could this truly be the spark they needed? They were at the brink of something vast and thrilling, a chance to connect more deeply with others who shared their passion. But as anticipation filled the air, Jake couldn't shake another thought that tugged at his heart, a question lingering in the back of his mind. What challenges would this collaboration bring, and were they truly ready to face them together? The sun began to peek through the remnants of the storm clouds, casting a warm, golden glow over the drenched earth. Jake stood there, phone still in hand, processing the weight of the message. It felt like an electric current zipping through him, filled with both hope and fear. "Dad? Are we going to do it?" Emily's voice cut through his thoughts, her eyes sparkling with a mixture of excitement and anxiety that he hesitated, glancing once more at the glowing screen. I think we might need to talk to him first. This could be something big." "What do you think it will be about?" she probed, her brow furrowing slightly. "Well, he sounds like he has ideas to help promote our garden, maybe even a way to reach more people. But every big step can come with its challenges." Jake saw the wheels turning in her head. There was a hunger in her expression, a yearning to jump headfirst into whatever lay ahead. It reminded him of her determination when they'd started the garden together, igniting fires of creativity and ambition. "Maybe it's our chance to inspire others, just like people inspired us," she exclaimed, her voice rising with enthusiasm. He nodded slowly, drawn in by her optimism. It was infectious and grounding all at once. "All right. Let us reach out. But let us be clear about what we can handle. We don't want to stretch ourselves too thin." They made their way back to the barn, shaking off the remnants of the storm as they went. Inside, the scent of damp hay surrounded them, creating a comforting cocoon amidst the chaos of nature's fury. Jake found a sturdy table and pulled out a piece of paper. He knew they needed a plan. "What if we write down what we're hoping to achieve?" he suggested, grabbing a pen. "Good idea. And what we might be worried about too," Emily chimed in, her mind racing with ideas. They both began brainstorming, the initial trepidation fading with every idea they scribbled down. They wrote about community, collaboration, and the possibility of producing a series of videos showcasing their farming journey. The thought that this might assist other farmers felt like a knot in Jake's stomach, excitement mixed with anxiety. "Dad," Emily said, her brow furrowed in thought. "What if people don't like our videos? Or what if they think we don't know what we're doing?" Jake paused, caught off guard by her honesty. "Those fears are part of it. It's scary putting ourselves out there. But helping others helps us too. And we're learning, right? We're not experts in everything, but we know our journey, and that counts for something." Her smile brightened the room, warming his heart. "I like that. People will see that we're trying. And if we mess up, at least we can share how we overcame it." "That's the spirit," he said, pride swelling within him. Together, they crafted the response, a mix of excitement and trepidation threading through their words. Jake sent off the message, his heart beating a little faster as he pressed send. "Now, we wait." He tried hard to keep his voice steady, but anticipation danced in the air between them. Hours passed, but it felt like days. They worked side by side in the garden, planting seeds and watering them, while unaware of how this collaboration would ripple through their lives. Just as dusk began to settle in, a notification chimed on Jake's phone. "Dad, check it." Emily rushed over, her eyes wide with eagerness and hope. But as Jake swiped to open the message, doubt twisted his stomach again. What if this was all a bit too much for them? He glanced at Emily, those dreams flickering in her eyes. Could they both handle the truth no matter what awaited? And just then, the screen lit up with new possibilities, a chance for their hopes to bloom or wither away. What lay on the other side of that notification could change everything. Would they embrace the unknown? Jake's heart raced as he read the message. It was quick, straight to the point, and filled with enthusiasm. I love your idea. Let us set up a time to chat and brainstorm further. Excited to collaborate. Emily squealed, her enthusiasm exploding into the small barn, echoing off the wooden walls. See, Dad. He likes it. This is going to be amazing. She jumped up and down, her excitement a beautiful contrast to the earlier tension. Yeah, it is, he replied with a smile, though uncertainty still clung to him. He couldn't shake off the nagging worry creeping in. What if they weren't ready for this? What if their garden wasn't as polished or inspiring as they hoped? Can we have pancakes for dinner to celebrate? Emily asked, bringing him back to the moment. Pancakes it is, Jake chuckled, ruffling her hair playfully. Cooking with Emily had become a sacred time, a small ritual of joy amidst the endless days of hard work. He could already envision the laughter around the table as they flipped the fluffy cakes, drenching them in syrup. As the two of them prepared the batter in the kitchen, Jake looked at her, memories flooding back to simpler times when Emily was just a little girl, curious and adventurous. You remember the first time we planted those tomatoes? How we weren't sure if anything would grow. That was so long ago. She exclaimed. But look at us now. We've come so far. Yes, we have, he agreed, pride swelling even more with every word. Dinner passed in a flurry of laughter and pancake flipping, but Jake's mind was still lingering on the message. They cleaned up and headed back outside, the evening air soft and filled with the scent of damp earth and fresh blooms. Hey, Dad, do you think we should start making a list of topics for our videos? Emily asked, her eyes still sparkling with dreams of what lay ahead. Definitely. We need to get organized, Jake replied, but deep down, he was grappling with the nature of this venture. But remember, it's not about perfection. It's about sharing our story, our journey. Right. And all the mistakes too, she giggled. That'll be fun. Just as they settled onto a bench outside, ready to brainstorm, the sun dipped beneath the horizon, painting the sky in vibrant hues of purple and orange. It felt magical, like everything was aligning in their favor. Their papers scattered in front of them, they started jotting down ideas how to plant, how to harvest, even the challenges they faced. Each word written felt like another seed sown for their future, but as they filled the page with dream after dream, Jake couldn't help but think, was it smart to open themselves up so much? Would they be able to cope with whatever comes next? He looked at Emily, her face illuminated by the fading light, and realized how important this was for both of them. Then, suddenly, her expression shifted. What if he has a really good idea and we end up not being able to do it? She asked quietly, her fear rising to the surface. We'll tackle it together, Jake assured her, taking her hand firmly. Whatever happens, we handle it as a team. Remember, it's the journey that counts, not just the destination. As they wrapped up their brainstorming session, Jake felt the weight of anticipation and excitement mingle. It was a strange blend of hope and fear, but Emily smiled brightly, bolstering his faith. But as they returned to the barn, Jake's phone buzzed again. Morning would bring answers, revelations, or even more challenges. Would this opportunity prove to be the spark they needed, or would it uncover fears they weren't ready to face? As he glanced at Emily, determination radiating from her, he knew they would find a way. Tomorrow would bring the truth. What lay ahead could change everything they ever thought about farming and each other. The sun cast a gentle glow through the barn windows the next morning, filling the space with warmth and possibility. Jake woke earlier than usual, his mind buzzing with thoughts of the upcoming phone call. He wanted to be ready, to bring the best version of himself to this conversation. As he tiptoed into the kitchen, the familiar smell of coffee filled the air, a comforting blanket that quelled some of his nerves. He poured himself a cup, letting the warmth seep into his palms, grounding him for the day ahead. Emily soon joined him, her hair tousled, still half asleep but with a sparkle in her eyes that mirrored the dawn's light. Did you sleep okay? She asked, yawning widely. Better than I thought, he replied, stirring the mug thoughtfully. I guess I'm just excited about today. Me too. Can we do a video of us waiting for the call? She suggested, bouncing on her toes. Of course. Let us show them our excitement, Jake said with a laugh. He felt his tension easing slightly at her infectious enthusiasm. As they set up the camera outside, Emily carefully adjusted the angle. What if we tell them how we're feeling right now? She said, her voice full of ideas. Great idea. Let us keep it real, just like we talked about, Jake agreed, feeling the anticipation build in the pit of his stomach. He wanted to capture this moment, the raw and real emotions that came with dreaming big. With everything ready, they waited, chatting and laughing, the playful banter between them a calming presence. As the clock ticked closer to their designated time, Jake couldn't help but feel the weight of the moment. Finally, his phone buzzed on the table, cutting through the excitement like a knife. The name on the screen was one he had been waiting for. Heart racing, he took a deep breath, glancing at Emily. She gave him a thumbs up, her smile encouraging him to answer. After a few hellos, Jake was plunged into a world of ideas, suggestions, and a warmth that came through the phone. The more they talked, the more Jake felt himself relax, his worries melting away as ideas sparked and flowed. Emily sat by his side, eyes wide with wonder, as he introduced her and their unique vision to their soon-to-be collaborator. Jake felt a thrill at the ease in their dialogue, his earlier anxieties dissipating with every passing minute. So, we could create a series that captures the essence of farming, every trial, every triumph, their collaborator suggested. It's the real, messy parts that people connect with. Yes. That's exactly what we want to show. Jake exclaimed, glancing at Emily, who beamed with pride. As the call continued, Jake felt an unexpected comfort in the exchange, the feeling of the weight lifting from his shoulders. But then, effortlessly, the topic changed to something deeper. Tell me about the challenges you faced. What makes your story different? Jake swallowed hard, glancing at Emily, who seemed to sense the shift in mood. This was a pivotal moment. Did he want to lay bare their struggles? Did he want to put their lives out there for others to see? We've had our ups and downs, he finally said. Especially when it comes to keeping the farm running. There's so much pressure. Emily leaned closer, her eyes wide, sensing the importance of his words. Jake felt a lump in his throat, the weight of vulnerability filling the space between them. But we've learned that it's the journey, all the messiness that matters most, he continued, finding strength in the honesty of his own voice. As the call wrapped up, Jake's heart brimmed with something new and energy, a hopeful excitement that maybe this path was going to lead somewhere wonderful. After saying their goodbyes, he looked at Emily, who was practically bouncing in her seat. Did you see? They actually want to hear our story. She shouted, her joy infectious. We did it together, Jake said, a prideful smile spreading across his face, but just as they began to breathe a sigh of relief, Jake's phone chimed with a new message. He grabbed it without thinking, an uneasy feeling creeping back. What if it was news they weren't prepared for? As he read the text, he felt his heart skip a beat. This was the confirmation they expected. What would it mean for their future? Would this new twist shake everything they had just built? Jake exchanged a worried glance with Emily, a familiar feeling of uncertainty creeping back in. This journey had just begun. Jake stared at his phone, the words in the message blurring slightly as his heart raced. He read it again, trying to make sense of it. It was from the show's producer, but instead of the backing they had hoped for, it revealed a hesitance. It expressed interest but also reservations. They wanted to see more concrete evidence of what Jake and Emily could deliver and hinted that another group was being considered as well. The weight of those words sank in. For a moment, the barn felt smaller, the air thicker. Emily noticed his change in demeanor and reached over, her hand wrapping tightly around his. What does it say? She asked, her voice laced with concern. They're not as sure as we thought, he finally managed to say, his voice barely above a whisper. The confidence that had begun to bloom within him now felt more like a vine choking his spirit. Emily gasped softly, her grip tightening. But we just showed them our passion. They loved our ideas. I thought so too. But they want something more tangible. They mentioned that they're looking at other applicants too, Jake replied, his voice shaking slightly with the gravity of the moment. Emily blinked, processing this new information. A surge of determination flickered in her eyes. Then let us give them something to see. We'll show them what we can do together. He looked at her, surprised by her fervor. What do you mean? If they want proof, we'll give them proof, she said, her voice building with excitement. We can create a small pilot episode. We can film a day in our lives here, showing every bit of the mess and magic that happens on this farm. Jake felt a warmth spread through him, sparking hope. You really think we can pull it off? Absolutely. We've got a whole story waiting to unfold right here. But we need to work fast. Emily rose from her seat, her energy contagious as she flew into action, pulling out her laptop and flipping it open. The idea began to take form between them, their excitement reigniting the passion that had burned before. They discussed angles, moments they could capture chasing chickens, planting seeds, sharing recipes, even some of the challenging days. People need to see what it really takes to run a farm, Jake said, feeling his confidence rebuild. And we need to be real. We can't just gloss over the tough stuff. Exactly. We won't shy away from difficulties. We'll show them how we cope, how we keep going, together, she said, her eyes blazing with vision. With every idea they shared, the weight of uncertainty lifted, replaced by a sense of purpose. As they dove into the planning, preparing scenes and moments, a sense of accomplishment started to grow. But just as they felt the momentum building, Jake's phone chimed again, interrupting their brainstorming. Both of them shot an anxious glance at the screen. Another message. This time, it was a schedule for a follow-up call in a week. Jake felt his heart begin to race again, a new urgency settling over them. Should we focus on getting this video done before then? Emily asked, eyes glinting with determination. Absolutely. We can't wait. But what if they don't like it? The shadow of doubt crept back in, a familiar and unwelcome companion. But we'll be showing them who we are. That's the whole point. Emily was fierce now, and he couldn't help but feel fired up alongside her. With newfound purpose, they set to work, determined to capture every slice of their lives, showcasing the heart of their farm. As the sun dipped behind the hills, painting the sky in oranges and pinks, they filmed their first moment together, a shot of them laughing, chaos around them as a goat bleated loudly, stealing the scene. But amidst the laughter, Jake couldn't shake a growing feeling that maybe, just maybe, this project would lead them to more than they ever imagined. With a hint of trepidation still hanging in the air, he couldn't help but wonder what awaited them in the week ahead. Would they be able to turn this setback into their greatest triumph? And would the producer's next message bring the answer they hoped for, or would it hold more surprises that would challenge them yet again? The sun peeked over the horizon, spilling its golden light across the ranch, igniting hope in Jake's heart. Today was the day they would put everything on the line. With the camera rolling, Jake and Emily worked like a well-oiled machine, capturing their lives with raw honesty. Emily was a bundle of energy, her excitement radiating off her like the sun splashing against the morning dew. This is going to be the best video, Dad. Just wait. She said, laughing as a chicken darted across the yard, drawing her into a race. Jake watched her, warmth swelling in his chest. Catch it, Em. We need the chicken for today's segment. He called out, mirroring her energy. The carefree laughter between them fueled the pace of their production. They filmed every moment, the quiet pace of planting seeds, the joy of watering their garden, even mishaps with an uncooperative goat that would stubbornly munch on the camera equipment. As the day wore on, they sat on the porch, sharing homemade sandwiches, the day's filming playing back in their minds. We did great. We really captured our life, Jake said, his voice thick with emotion. In that moment, he realized how far they had come. Yeah. It was just like I imagined. Emily's eyes sparkled. And they'll see how much we care. But as they prepared for the final shot of the day, Jake couldn't shake the unease building inside him. The reality of sharing their struggles loomed large. Was it right to expose their lives this way? Hey, Emily said softly, sensing her father's hesitation. Everything we've shown is us. It's a part of the story, right? Jake nodded, swallowing hard. You're right, Em. It's about sharing our truth, our journey. But, what if they don't like it? Who cares? We need to be proud of what we put out. It's our story. She replied firmly. Her conviction struck like a match against the dark. You're right. It's our life, our journey, he whispered, the weight on his shoulders easing. They wrapped up the day's filming, laughter echoing through the air, solidifying that connection again, a bond built on resilience and love. Later that evening, Jake carefully edited the video, poring over each frame, reliving those moments. They crafted a heartfelt message at the beginning, expressing their gratitude to their followers who had supported them through thick and thin. Do we have to include the struggles? He asked Emily, a pang of doubt creeping back in. Definitely. That's the spark. People connect with real stories, she replied, determination shining through. They shared those stories, the late nights worrying about money, the desperate moments losing crops, and always finding a way to push through together. Jake's heart raced with hope. As the last frame flickered onto the screen, Jake felt a rush of certainty. Their bond had grown stronger through this journey, and sharing it would weave them deeper into their community's heart. With a steady finger, he hit the upload button. Let us see what they think. We can do this. Emily cheered, her arms wide as if embracing the world. And if they don't like it, we'll keep going. Jake added, feeling the thrill of uncertainty give way to excitement. The following morning arrived, the bright sun spilling over the ranch again like a promise. Jake's heart raced as he browsed the notifications, anticipation hanging thick in the air. Each comment brought tears to his eyes, a mixture of support and admiration pouring in from their growing community. One message stood out like a shooting star, this touched my heart. You have no idea how much you inspire us. With every notification, Emily squealed with joy, excitement bubbling over. That's amazing. She said, jumping up and down. Look at this. We have people sharing their own stories, wow. Jake marveled at the outpouring of connection fostering between them all. Later that day, they sat on the porch, basking in the warmth of the feedback. How do we keep this going? This feels special, Emily asked, her small hands clasping Jake's. I think, we invite them in even more. Maybe a live stream of us working in the garden showing every little step, the ups and downs. Jake suggested, feeling words spill out like sunlight breaking through clouds. Emily's eyes grew wide. A garden party. Let us do it. And just like that, the spark of inspiration ignited a new venture. Their journey was blossoming, and with it came new opportunities and a broader community. As they looked across the ranch, parents working tirelessly while children played in the fields, a sense of belonging enveloped them. Jake took a deep breath, the air thick with promise and possibility. They had transformed not just their ranch, but their lives. The storms they faced had forged them into something more, a family bound not just by blood, but by love, resilience, and unwavering hope. They were ready to face whatever came next together. Here's to our journey, Jake lifted an imaginary glass. Together. Together. Emily cheered, laughter ringing in the air, echoing across their ranch. Now was the moment, this life, their story, and all its beautiful messiness was worth sharing. And it all began with a simple request from a little girl with big dreams. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support by hitting like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending below. You need to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second.